Hi, everyone. Welcome to our very first ever virtual board meeting. I know it's not the what we are normally accustomed to, but given our times, I'm just so happy we had this opportunity and that we can continue to focus on the future of our students, even with such great trauma going on throughout the world. So, what we are going to look at tonight is where we are currently in our 5-year plan. And in this year, we are, expressly focused on the evaluations and the assessments that we are using to evaluate our overall success at implementing that plan. So just to remind you, in year one, we started off with a very simple mission. We wanted to make Northern Highlands the best place possible to come and learn and teach and really make this a community. And we did that by first creating a subcommittee and then conducting a survey to try to figure out what our vision is. Where are we going as a district in the future? Once we developed what our school vision is, we asked our teachers to envision what that looked like in the students themselves. Because a vision is nothing without a plan to achieve it. It's simply just a dream. So we wanted to make that dream a reality. In year three, we began expressly writing that into the curriculum itself to make sure that we were in explicit ways teaching all the characteristics we decided to emphasize. In year four, our goal is to assess whether or not we have been successful. Are we closer to achieving our vision as a district? And the way that we are going to do that is by implementing the performance assessments, which I will refresh your memory on later on in this PowerPoint, and reform our evaluation model to reflect those very same virtues we enshrined in our school vision. And through these revisions, we are hoping to more efficiently and effectively be able to impart upon our students the school vision that we all came up with. So, close up on our goals this year. With this year, at year four in the process, we not only wanted to assess whether or not our written curriculum was indeed addressing the goals that we set out in our school vision, but we wanted to develop a more productive dialogue between the supervisory team and teachers. Because one statistic that we noticed, or one enduring theme that we noticed through our school transformation survey, was that teachers felt as if there was a lack of communication, or that the communication and feedback that they were receiving was not always transparent, and that led to a negative school atmosphere and really overall hurt our school climate. So in order to measure our effectiveness this year, we are going to survey the staff and the administration again, as well as collect the data from the student performance assessments throughout the year to reflect and refine our teaching and our curriculum going forward. So, as a reminder on what performance assessments were, we started with a very simple question. How do we know that students are learning what we want them to learn? Once we went to a more abstract and ethereal school vision that was emphasizing character and skills, this became more of a complicated question, because some of the things that we were looking to impart into our students were not things that could be easily assessed via a traditional form of assessment, whether it be a multiple choice quiz or test or a simple essay. So we decided to use performance tasks or performance assessments. These were complicated challenges that were designed to mirror novel situations that a student might confront outside of the school setting. We can teach them skills, but those skills are not useful unless they can apply them in a variety of different scenarios. So these performance tasks were designed to do that, to allow students to show and demonstrate their knowledge and the skills that they've learned in novel situations. And we did this for several reasons. One in which is we began to understand that our students are unique. They have multiple intelligences. We have to be able to allow them to demonstrate their knowledge in the ways that suit them best. It also, these performance assessments aligned more closely with recent career and college readiness standards that require our students to be more critical thinkers. So now that we have these performance assessments, we can't simply just administer them and get no feedback. This is a continual process. So we decided that the best way to measure the effectiveness of these assessments was not only by collecting the data, but was to by starting a dialogue between teachers themselves and administrators regarding the assessments. So that way that we could reform them for each subsequent year to ensure that our students are always learning in the ways that fit them best, and that our curriculum remains progressive and forward thinking and doesn't become static like our old school vision. So some of the results that prompted us to do this evaluation revision came from the transformation survey that was designed by the subcommittee in year one. As we can see, there are several statistics that I highlighted for you that really highlight this communication deficit that exists between the supervisors and the teachers. You can see 41% of the staff disagreed or strongly disagreed that administration gives useful feedback. 47% of the staff disagreed that they get recognized for a job well done. Each one of these statistics kind of shows and demonstrates the real-time misunderstanding between administrators, supervisors, and teachers, which can, in the end, lead, when unaddressed, to a negative school environment. Here are some anecdotal quotes from the open-ended response from teachers on when feedback was useful. Yes, when observations can help me improve my teaching strategies. However, I have received feedback at times that which was not focused or improving on the pedagogical practices. I did not value that criticism. So teachers want the feedback, but they also want to make sure they understand it. And it's in the understanding of the feedback itself that led to the biggest issues. Just additional quotes that you can look at for the in the Google Slides itself. I shared each one of you with the PowerPoint. And through our research, we were able to identify that, in large part, a lot of the reasons and rationales that were given by faculty members were these triggers, whether it be a truth trigger, a relationship trigger, or an identity trigger. These were the issues that were creating the misunderstanding between the teachers and the staff. So we started with a very simple question of how can we become more transparent? And how can we continue to build upon what we've done in each year to make sure that we have the best learning environment? How can we build trust between teachers and the supervisory team? And we decided the best way to do that was through the implementation of these observation tools. There are a variety of observation tools, two of which that I'm going to show you today that deal specifically with assessments. And the goal of these observation tools are to make the dialogue between teachers and staff more open, more transparent, and more honest, all with the aim of improving student learning outcomes. So here we can see the assessment blueprint. What this does is essentially a supervisor and a teacher sit down and they examine a test or a performance assessment together, and they determine which had the level of thinking from Bloom's taxonomy a question might meet, and they also compare it to the school vision. Are these tasks requiring them to be creative, resourceful, communicative, collaborative, resilient? We wanted to know just what areas we were overemphasizing and what areas we were de-emphasizing. So by using a tool like this, very much clears up the disagreement or the misunderstanding between students, teachers and their supervisors. Here's a similar observation tool that's going to be rolled out this year. This is a clinical pre-observation form. Once again, dealing with classroom assessment, it's going to ask teachers to reflect on their practice. We would give this to them at the beginning of the year. They would answer each one of these questions. Then, throughout the course of the year, they would collect exemplars from each one of their assessments and put together a portfolio and review that portfolio of assessments and the data and how it informed instruction in the classroom, and they would present that to their supervisor. And that would be the entirety of all of their observations this year. Once again, it's given ownership to the teacher, and it's ensured that teachers and supervisors and administrators are aware of the deficits of our assessments, and we are all working together to improve instruction in the classroom. In the end, we believe that that the supervisor is not an overseer or prescriber or a dictator, but rather they're a guide and a facilitator. And these tools are going to emphasize that process. They're there for support. And that was one of the biggest factors that teachers called for in the transformation survey. It's also going to increase dialogue between teachers and supervisors, and it ensures as a district that we've aligned our written, taught, and assessed curriculums. Thank you so much for your time.